What's up YouTube? It's Philip from the Honda Resource. Thanks for stopping by to check out another video. So today we're going to be doing a TPS adjustment on a 94 or 97 Honda Accord. And in this video, I'll show you how to do it and I'll show you the tools that you'll need so that you can do this right at home and in your garage. Stay tuned and let's get started with this video. All right, so to begin with on this project, we're going to have to remove the airbox. You could probably just get away with removing the intake tube here, but I just find it easier just to remove the whole intake. Airbox has two 10mm bolts, so it has one right here and one right back here. So on this particular one, you can see the TPS is tucked way up behind the firewall. So on these particular cars, you can see the TPS is tucked way up in here, up under the firewall here. And it's particularly hard to get to if you were trying to adjust it from here. I'm not saying it's impossible, but the easiest way that I know is just to take the throttle body out and adjust it with it off of the car, you know, sitting over in this area. So right now what I'm going to do is get this intake tube off, and like I said, it's got a 10mm bolt right here, and it's got another one right down there. All right, and then you'll have a Phillips head on this clamp here, and then we just make sure that all the hoses and everything are pulled off of it, and then we can remove the intake tube. All right, so the next thing I want to do is get these throttle cables off. So we got our throttle cable from the pedal, we also have the cruise control, and we have the kickdown cable. So we need to get all three of these loose, and they're all 10mm. Throttle cable has a little bracket, a little hole where it can go through, and the same thing over here. Now we got that cable out of the way. Now we'll get our kickdown cable off. Now, if you had a manual transmission, you wouldn't have this cable because this is for the automatic transmissions, automatic transmission kickdown cable, right? So if you had a manual, you wouldn't have to worry about this cable. All right, so that one's off, out of the way. This is the map sensor here on top. It has a little tab, and you just push the tab down and pull the sensor back, or the connector back, and it's off. And we have our evap hose. It's a spring clamp. All right, so now we need to get our coolant lines off for the fast idle valve. So the fast idle valve is here on the bottom of the throttle body, and it has a coolant hose here and one right here. They're both spring clamps. You can just squeeze them and move them out of the way. You may lose just a smidge of coolant, but it's not going to be enough to bother anything. All right. The same thing back here. This is our map sensor, our TPS. So this is the sensor we're going to be adjusting. So now we've got it unplugged. Now we'll disconnect the throttle body. And to do that, you'll need a 12mm. And the throttle body will slide off. So you can see, looks like someone's tampered with the idle screws, so that's no bueno. And you can see here, this is the TPS factory. They don't have the Allen screws. They're break-off screws. So whenever you put them in from the factory, you torque them down, the head breaks off, and then you're not supposed to mess with it. But someone's replaced this TPS, so we're gonna make sure it's adjusted. And also while we're here, we'll check the fast idle valve and make sure the plunger is good to go. Also, you can see here where our 4 bolts are. These are the top, so one here and one here, and it has one here and one there. And then the other hose we disconnected was here. Like I said, it was directly under the throttle body, so pretty straightforward. All right, so the next thing I did was I got a connector off of an old harness I had, and same connector as the TPS has. So you can see here that this plugs right in, okay? So the reason I use this is so that I don't have to cut up the factory harness in order to test my power. So what I'm going to do here, so I'm just going to twist the end of these wires, and these actually match color to color because it's green, red, yellow, right? The tracers on the wire themselves are a little different color, but that doesn't matter. So I twisted the end of the red and stuck it in the middle pin since red is the middle. I'll do the same for the other two. Now I've got all three of the wires stuck into the connector here, and that essentially gives me just a longer pigtail to hook up my TPS sensor. Also use my wire strippers to strip a small section in the middle of this harness. So now I have to turn on the key. You're going to put your ignition into the on position, so not the first one, but the second one. The third one is the crank. So put our key in, second position. That's where we want it. All right, so now we have the key on. TPS, like I said, is hooked up. Yeah. All right, so we'll take the voltmeter and we'll test it. I've got it on the volt setting, so we can put it on the positive and negative of the battery. You can see it has just under 12 volts. So now what we're going to do is the green wire is our ground. So we'll hook up our ground. All right, and then the yellow wire is our 5 volt reference. So you can see we got 5 volts. And so the red wire is our signal wire. And with this throttle body closed, it should be 0.5 volt. You can see it's just off a little bit there. So like I said, this needs to be 0.5 volt. So if you start turning it one way and it goes up higher than it needs to be, turn it the other way until you get it where it needs to be. You see it's right at just the smidge over 0.5 volt, and that's closed. So then we take and go wide open throttle, and it should be 4.5, so that's perfect. Our TPS is adjusted. I tightened it back down. We can disconnect our wires. All right, so now that you got the throttle body off, you can do the fast idle valve. And what you need to do is take this little door off here. It's two 8mm bolts. They also use a Phillips head, but 8mm works best. And take the little door off. Just taking the screwdriver and putting it in this little groove. And we're gonna turn it. So that's, you want it bottomed all the way out in there, just like that. It should still sit a little bit above the threads in there. That's pretty normal. All right, and then you put your little door back on. So now we'll reinstall the throttle body. Put our hose back onto the fast idle valve down here. Hook the TPS back up. Put our bolts back in. And on most of these, you're gonna have a 12. You're gonna have a bolt up here and a bolt in the corner, and then a nut and a nut. It may not be in that exact order, but it's usually 2 bolts, 2 nuts. All right, so now we're just gonna finish reassembly. We can top off the coolant, which I mean you can see it's full, so it didn't even lose enough disconnecting those hoses to do anything. So if you lost a lot of coolant, fill it up. So I guess now we can try to start it up. All right guys, thanks for checking out my video. Now I know you can do the TPS adjustment, or TPS replacement, and repair your fast idle valve on your 94 or 97 Honda Accord. If you're new here, I'd invite you to check out some more videos on the channel. If you found this video helpful, please hit the like button, drop a comment, let me know how this video was able to assist you. And as always, I'd appreciate if you'd hit that subscribe button. Unfortunately, it's starting to rain, so I gotta get everything picked up. Hope to see you on the next one.